Hello again, everybody, and thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. Great to be here with you. Glad you took some time to spend with me. Before we get to the subject matter at hand, if you do like the content, I hope you will like and subscribe. Thanks to you guys, my channel is actually doing pretty good for a small, tiny, little independent channel. Currently, I'm at 554 subscribers, and I do have a goal of getting to 600 by the end of the year, and I cannot do it without you guys. So, if you could like and subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. Now, onto our subject. So the way this video came up and came about is actually a little different. A couple of months ago or so, I did a review of my new solar guitar. It's a Type A guitar. I'm not going to get into all the details on that. We've done that already. Got a lot of positive response on it. People liked what they saw. People liked what they heard. That was fantastic. And one gentleman actually replied back, "Love the guitar, love the video. That was wonderful. Thank you." However, they said something interesting. They said that, it's interesting that I play the guitars and I do the demos, but for me, normally I'm playing through an Iron Ball SE with a PV4x12 cabinet that has PV Valve King speakers in there. His reply to me was also that not everybody can play or can afford higher end equipment, and believe me, I am so grateful that I'm able to. There's no doubt about that. But I thought about that, and that was a really good point that this gentleman brought up. So today, I thought I'd do a kind of a pseudo shootout on two different types of amps that I have. And I'm going to use the Iron Ball SE, which is my go-to amp these days, again with that 4x12 cabinet that has the PV Valve King speakers in it. I'm going to use that because that is my go-to sound and my go-to gear for my recording, if you will. And then I'm going to compare that with a little practice amp that I have. Now, the practice amp that I have is about a $300 practice amp. It is an orange RT Crush 35. It has one 10-inch speaker, and it is a orange Voice of the World speaker. Impressive name for that speaker. It's a solid state amp. It's not a tube amp. It's a combo amp. It's not an amp head. So there are definitely a lot of differences between my regular rig and my practice amp. So I really don't think that the guitar itself is going to have make dramatic differences in the sound. It's two different amps, and even more importantly, it's two different speakers. But I thought it would be interesting just to do some type of video with more of higher end equipment, and I'm not saying the Engel Iron Ball is the highest end equipment in the world, by no means, and the Orange RT Crush combo amp is not the lowest end amp in the world either. However, there are vast differences in price. The Engel goes for $1,300, the Orange goes for $300. So there's a big difference there in price, and as well as makeup and engineering of the amps as well. Speakers have a lot to do with it as well. And again, these two amps will have obviously different speakers in them too. So what I'm going to do is, for this little shootout about lower end versus higher end stuff, is I'm going to use a SM57 microphone, which is a tried and true microphone. So there's no tricks of the trade there. I'm going to use my standard settings for the Engel Iron Ball, and I'll keep the Orange RT with everything at noon, so it just kind of has a flat sound to it. I'm not going to use any effects. I'm not going to use any compression. I'm not going to use any chorus, which I usually mix into my sound. I'm not going to use any delay, so it's really going to be just a basic, raw, distorted metal type sound, and let's see what we come up with. From there, I'll let you make the choices on what you think. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. Please take an opportunity to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for spending some time with me. Now, on to the video. All right, everyone, I'm back, and we all heard that. We had the Engel Iron Ball somewhat against the Orange RT Crush, small little combo amp. So needless to say, I do think, and probably you think too, that the Engel Iron Ball pretty much smashed the Orange. But that's to be expected. They're two completely different animals. But the thought that really comes to mind right now, especially when I think of that gentleman that said I should try out equipment, new guitars and things like that on cheaper amps, is the Orange held up in its own right. For what it is, it's pretty good. It was a dry sound that I used. The only effects that were used were was gain. That was it. There was no compression. There was no reverb. There was delay. There was no delay. There was no chorus. And when you look at it that way, although the Engel sounded much better out of the box, as it probably should, the Orange in its own right held its own as well. You know, especially in the world of plugins these days, for a nominal amount of money, and sometimes even free, you can add the compression, the reverb, the delay, and other effects for real cheap. So, you know, it goes to show that even if you have a good guitar, you can still pull a decent sound out of amps, and maybe even make recordings, maybe not the exact recordings that you want to make, but still something, you know, worthwhile. So both have their merits, and I will definitely say that Orange amp as that little practice amp is really, really kick-ass, standalone, not compared to an Engel Iron Ball. So that's everything I had. I will say this was sort of a weird comparison today, but just that idea that listener, or that viewer, I should say, mentioned to me that I should try out guitars on cheaper amps, simply because not everybody has, you know, is what's the word I'm looking for, fortunate enough to be able to have some of the more expensive gear. So hopefully that kind of shows how that works out a little bit. We can make it work. Maybe again I'll do another video with the Orange with a lot of effects and delays and compression in there, and see what we come up with. So thanks a bunch, much appreciated. Stay safe, stay metal, stay well, and if you can, please like and subscribe. Thank you.